Okay, so for the longest time I suffered from different levels of insecurity, how I look, how people react to me. Everyone kind of does. I'm getting to the stage now where I'm going to try and not give a shit about that and publish some stuff online. If people don't like it, they don't like it. If they do, they do. If I die tomorrow, there'll be some record of me online. And maybe it was a recent experience that I had with DMT. Get into the nuts and bolts of life and death. And fearing for your life basically makes you kind of, hopefully, or it should, logically it should, help release inhibitions and basically not care what other people think as much. Because, you know, life is short. It's the longest thing you'll ever do, but it's pretty short too. That's relative, but don't tell Einstein I said that. More breakfast here, by the way. This is a nice hotel. Breakfast buffet, I'm on my own. So I got all the breakfast myself. I can eat all the food at home. And our DMT is an interesting thing. Good morning, gracias. Thank you. Because this fine gentleman is pouring coffee. What's your name?
Martin.
Martin?
Yeah.
You're a legend.
Nice to meet you.
Well, I think I met you before, but
Yeah.
my head can be like a sieve when it comes to remembering names. Thank you, Martin. Cheers. And so I'm just going to start kind of rambling and sharing my ideas and thoughts and different kind of things that come to my mind and actually share the videos online every day. Because I've been meandering through different kinds of ideas and concepts about ways to live life. Recently I've been dabbling with a concept known as vegetarianism, where you don't eat animals. But, I mean, the reason we wouldn't eat animals, to me, is because, you know, when you get into nuts and bolts of the whole, you know, evolution thing, where at one stage we probably resembled, including our language and behavior, more or less what monkeys behave like. I'm going to drink my milk, my cocoa pot milk from the bowl, like a human monkey. Monkeys don't have bowls, as far as I'm aware, but I'm pretty confident that one of them must have been able to crack a coconut somehow. That's pretty much the same thing. Maybe some of them do use bowls, or that's up for this discussion. Probably hopefully another discussion, because that's very interesting. But I have the second bowl of cereal as well. This is more of a muesli type thing. But I suppose some cultures have been known to exhibit acts of cannibalism, and that's where I'd kind of draw the line. I don't think we should be cannibalizing each other because we think that, you know, we've got to kind of stick up for our own. Oh, I was really going to say race. That was a faux pas. For our own species. And yeah, well, that's where the line gets drawn. But apparently pork is kind of like human meat, and so you wouldn't want to be ordering pork in I can't remember one of those countries, but maybe there's some places, poor places in Mexico, I don't know, but that's why I didn't want to eat meat. But I do believe that if we as humans are going to farm animals, it's our responsibility to make sure that they live as happily and healthily as they can while they're alive. And so, anyway, there would be another school of thought which would say that a mango has feelings. If you cut a tree, it starts producing sap, and similar ways that we produce blood in a defensive mechanism thing. But, you know, we gotta look at things in balance because we gotta live too. And so I wasn't eating meat for a while because, well, so I started opening myself up to new passages of empathy in the past while. And we can become over empathetic because there is levels of competition in the world, obviously, and at a certain point, if you empathize more with an ant than, you know, your brothers and sisters, then, you know, there's something aloof there. So it's kind of maybe it's like the Buddhist thing, you know, people that don't want to like hurt a living thing. But oftentimes we can do that at the expense of our own care. This is watermelon, it's not flesh. And so this video might be a little bit weird, probably not. It's good to verbalize a lot of the thought processes behind people making decisions. You know, some people might say that, okay, here's papaya. Is it papaya? That's papaya. I used to like papaya. But papaya is a weird one because it really does kind of look like flesh. And actually, I don't like it as much as I used to. There was a while when I really didn't like papaya. It was the only thing I described as not liking. And then interestingly, after an LSD experience, I had papaya for breakfast and I really enjoyed it, which is weird. I'm not really enjoying this papaya. I suppose that's a good question in itself because I had my first psychedelic experience maybe 4 years ago now, and it did change me in many ways for the better. It opened up my capacity to understand and appreciate art and music, as well as other things, but it does have a significant impact on your psyche. And one of the times when I experimented with LSD was actually in this town I am at the moment. We're in the beautiful Tulum, in a kind of a downtown-ish hotel, so quite in the middle of the jungle. And I had a really scary experience when I had it. I took it on the beach. It was kind of dark. All the trees were scary and stuff. And I had people kind of felt like people were performing a ritual with me, which was very scary. And I felt like the light in my life switched to darkness. And I got really scared for a while. I felt like I was trapped in this world. And then, oh, gracias, thank you. Thanks, Mike. Yeah. 303. Sean. Oh, sorry. Oh, eggs. Yeah. I haven't had eggs in a while. Do you know, maybe I will have eggs.
We have omelets, scrambled eggs, fried eggs,
Um, could you do like a Mexican eggs? Huevos Mexicano?
Huevo a la mexicana, sí.
Perfecto, gracias.
Okay. Is the scrambled eggs and the Mexican?
Yeah, with what isn't it? The peppers and onions and
anything, yes, yeah.
peppers, onions, and then yeah, that's I really like that. Thank you, thanks, Martin. And I got worried that I wouldn't be able to come back to the light. I started to see people being scary and that kind of thing. But I was able to come back. It was a weird thing. But it came down to relaxation. I don't know how to describe how I did it. For me, it was a confidence that I had been there before, and so I'd be able to go back there consciously. Because if you experiment with consciousness, and that could be through psychedelic and some non-psychedelic drugs, but also meditation. Meditation is a transcendence and I suppose a movement or a changing in your mental states, and that's what happens when you take drugs as well. So meditation is kind of a way to do that without taking drugs. And I normally don't have Cocoa Pops, but I haven't had them since I was a little kid, and I'm between kind of all of these different, and again, like saying, oh, should we produce any waste? Shouldn't we eat stuff that doesn't, make plastic? Use these little containers with plastic and with cardboard. And I suppose it's interesting because most of my career I've worked in different levels of kind of manufacturing automation, and that is a manufactured food. And I suppose I think in the world that ultimately the ground doesn't care if you throw some plastic on it. As weird as that sounds, if you've got a desert and there's only like a toxic salt and there's no life there, that ground doesn't care if you throw some plastic on it or some cardboard. So we can often be too hard on ourselves when it comes to recycling and such. It's definitely not good to put plastic and stuff in the sea or in the waterways. But in this kind of period in the world where we're trying to go from large level of pollution to being environmentally sustainable, we've got to use the systems, but also be realistic about the fact that we want to live and enjoy a certain lifestyle and an actual life. But it is better to separate the garbage from the organic matter, because that stuff it's really important that kind of replenishes the soil, and that the fungus consumes the soil and regenerates the nutrients back into letting new plants grow. These Cocoa Pops are pretty great. I'm not gonna lie, they're great. I'm gonna leave that there for the moment. I might just start issuing videos every day. Maybe someone will care, maybe no one will. Maybe there'll be some level of insight that will be appreciated. So I'm just gonna title this one "Cocoa Pops Are Great."